So therefore, A is equal to F by M minus small f by m. This F is static frictional coefficient. Therefore, it is mu s mg by m minus this F is kinetic friction. Means the body wants to move with the applied force, but the static friction is keeping the object in rest. Therefore, mu s mg by m minus mu k mg by m. In both the parts, m and m will get cancelled. Therefore, it is mu sg minus mu kg. So, therefore, net acceleration acting on a body which is placed on a rough horizontal surface, small a is equal to static frictional coefficient minus kinetic frictional coefficient into acceleration due to gravity. If mu s is greater than mu k, a is plus g. The general view between the static friction and kinetic friction is greater in magnitude when compared to the kinetic friction. That's why A is always plus G. The next concept is pulling of a land roller on a horizontal rough surface. So we know what is the shape of the land roller. Yes, it is a cylindrical drum which is made up of a metal or cement, which is used to level the uneven regularities on the ground. So this land roller can be moved in two types. One is by the force of pushing, second one is by the force of pulling. Now we are discussing the pulling of the land roller. So what is the free body diagram of this pulling? This is the wheel of the land roller pulling. This is the central part of the land roller circular drum, which is placed on a horizontal rough surface. At this point, with the help of an angle theta, this is pulled down. Pulling means it is like this, we are doing like this towards us. So at this point, we can resolve the force component into two types. One is adjacent angle of the incidence, another one is perpendicular to the incidence. Therefore, this is the force, this adjacent angle, this is theta. So this force is F cos theta, this force is F sin theta. Exactly down of the F sin theta, mg. This mg and F sin theta both are opposite to each other, and in this direction Fr rolling friction. So what we can understand is from this diagram, normal reaction force N is equal to mg minus F sin theta. So in this case, resultant force is equal to Fr is equal to F cos theta minus Fr. So therefore, we can write Fr is equal to mu r n. So this n is equation number 1. Therefore, Fr will become mu r into where n is equal to mg minus F sin theta. So therefore it is mu r mg minus mu r f sine theta. It is Fr. This Fr value should be substituted in equation 2. So therefore net resultant force Fr is equal to F cos theta minus mu r n. Therefore F cos theta minus mu r into, where n is equal to mg minus f sine theta. Therefore Fr is equal to F cos theta minus mu r mg plus mu r f sine theta. If we take f as common, f is equal to cos theta plus mu r sine theta minus mu r mg. This is the resultant force needed to pull down the land roller from a rough horizontal surface, where F is the applied force into cos theta plus mu r sine theta minus mu r mg, where mg is normal reaction force. The next concept is pushing of a land roller on a horizontal rough surface. The net amount of force required to push a land roller which is on the rough surface. The diagram or the free body diagram is like this. This is the land roller wheel which is placed on a rough horizontal surface. We should push this wheel. So to push, the handle will be like this. So we can understand the situation like this. This is normal reaction force and this is theta. Means the roller, that handle support, is making an angle theta in the forward direction with the horizontal line which is passes through the origin of land roller wheel. So the normal reaction force is like this. This is mg. So this is F cos theta. If you take the resolution of the components, this will be F sine theta. Here F sine theta and mg both are in the same direction. F cos theta and Fr are in the opposite directions. So therefore normal reaction force where n is equal to mg plus f sine theta. The net resultant force it is represented by capital Fr is equal to F cos theta minus Fr. We know that F cos theta minus Fr is mu r n. Therefore it will be F cos theta minus mu r. What is n? mg plus f sine theta. So this will be F cos theta minus mu r mg minus mu r f sine theta is equal to Fr. So the net resultant force, if we simplified the answer, Fr is equal to, so we can take f and f sine theta as common. So take f as cos theta minus mu r sine theta minus mu r mg. This is the net resultant force acting on force of reaction in the case of the pushing of a land roller on a horizontal surface. The next concept is circular motion. Take a reference point, or a body is moving about a reference point in a circular path. The actual path of the body should be in straight line. If the body is moving in straight line, the body which is in the circular path should come out of the path in the regular time intervals. But this was not happening at all. So what we can understand is there is a force which is acting on the body to keep the body in the circular path towards its center. The force which is required to keep the body in rotation of circular path is called centripetal force. The same force is countered by centrifugal force to balance. So what is centripetal force? A force which is acting towards a common center of a circular path to keep the body to rotate or to oscillate in the prescribed circular path. What is centrifugal force? A force which is coming out of a common point to all directions of a circular path. These two forces are same in magnitude but opposite in direction. If the arrow marks are towards the center, it is centripetal force. If the arrow marks are away from the center, it is centrifugal force. We know that force is equal to ma according to the Newton's second law of motion. But in case of circular path, the force which is required is centripetal or centrifugal. A representation is Fc is equal to ma. But acceleration is equal to velocity by time. So velocity into 1 by time. Therefore velocity into, what is the meaning of time? Velocity by time is equal to acceleration, or distance by time is equal to velocity. So therefore 1 by time is equal to velocity by distance. So therefore we can write it as velocity by distance. If suppose the body is moving in a circular path, the distance maintained by the body is always equal to the radius of circle. That's why in place of d we can write r. Therefore v square by r. So where acceleration is v square by r, therefore centripetal force or centrifugal force Fc is equal to mac. Therefore m into, therefore AC is nothing but centripetal acceleration v square by r. If radius is very small, we can write it as mv square by r. We know that v is equal to r omega. Therefore Fc is equal to m into r square omega square by r mr omega square. So like this we can define the centripetal force or centrifugal force. So this centripetal force or centrifugal force is directly proportional to square of the angular frequency. The next concept is motion of a car on a level road. Level road means the body which is horizontal in surface or in nature, on that a car which has some 4 wheels in a circular path, they are moving. Whenever a body is moving on a level road, these are the 2 wheels which are separated by some distance. It has a component of three different forces. One is gravitational force. To be balanced by the gravitational force, one more force is acting in the exact opposite direction. That force is normal reaction force. If the car or the vehicle, the wheels of the vehicle is taking a turning along the circular path, it has centripetal force. These are the three major forces which are acting on the body, whether it is a car or any two-wheeler or four-wheeler which is traveling on a level road. Now we should find out what should be the maximum velocity to be maintained by this vehicle to keep on the same path. So we know that frictional force F small f is equal to small f is less than or equal to mu s n, because the body is in the static friction initially. This mu s n is equal to centripetal force mv square by r. So we know that mu s or n is equal to mg is equal to mv square by r, where m and m get cancelled. So v square is equal to mu s rg. Therefore v is equal to square root of mu s rg. The maximum velocity should be maintained by these type of vehicles to move on a level road to balance all these forces is equal to V max is equal to square root of mu s rg, where mu s is static frictional coefficient, where r is the radius of the circular path covered by the wheels of the vehicle, where g is acceleration due to gravity. Here the problem, which is based on the concept of motion of a level road. The description of the problem is a cyclist speeding at 18 kilometers per hour on a level road takes a sharp circular turn of radius 3 meters without reducing the speed. The coefficient of static friction between the tires and the road is 0.1. Will the cyclist slip while taking the turn? The physical quantities that are present in the given problem is the speed v is 18 kilometers per hour, but kilometers per hour is not the SI unit of the velocity. That's why we are converting this 18 kilometers per hour into meters per second. So should be multiplied with 5 by 18. It is nothing but 5 meters per second. That means the cyclist should move with a velocity of 5 meters per second to rotate the wheel towards the left turn or right turn of radius 3 meters. If the value is exactly equal to 5 meters per second, okay, the cyclist will move a safe journey. If not, it will be a slipping case. So let me check. The velocity is 5 meters per second. We know that V max is square root of mu s rg. The radius of the circular path is 3 meters. The g value is 10 meters per second square, where mu s is 0.1. After the substitution, V max is equal to square root of mu s 0.1 into or 3 meters into g 10. So this 10 and 0.1, it will be 1. 1 into 3, 3, the square root of 3. So V max we got is 1.732. The velocity we are getting is 1.732 meters per second. This is less than the minimum requirement, nothing but the 5 meters per second. That's why the cyclist will slip while he taking the turn. The velocity obtained is less than the minimum required velocity. Therefore the cyclist will slip as he is taking the turn. The next concept is motion of a car on a banking road. Banking road means the road which is in a turning shape, which has some banking angle to take the turn. So let us take an inclined plane like this. On this, one vehicle is like this. The forces acting on the body approximately downward is mg. This is normal reaction force. Because of that, this is the angle between these two. This will be n cos theta. The turning of the direction of the turning is towards the right or left. So in this direction, we can expect the centripetal force mv square by r. So if this is F, this will be F sin theta, and this will be F cos theta. So like this, we can take the resolution of the forces. So on adding, this is n cos theta. In this direction, n sin theta will be added. So if you see the resolution of the components, this is the normal force reaction. The adjacent side, which is near to the angle, is n cos theta. The perpendicular angle is n sin theta. The resultant force direction is downwards. One is F sin theta. This will F cos theta. So the line of resolution F cos theta or n sin theta is in the same direction. The line of resolutions, gravitational force mg and F sin theta are in the same direction. So therefore, equation 1 is n cos theta is equal to F sin theta plus mg. Where F is frictional force. If you see the equation 2, n sin theta plus F cos theta is equal to mv square by r, nothing but the centripetal force. So we know that F is equal to mu n. So it is better to substitute the mu n values in any one of the equation. So therefore, n cos theta is equal to mg plus mu n sin theta. Therefore, n cos theta minus mu n sin theta is equal to mg. If you are taking n as common, cos theta minus mu sin theta is equal to mg. Therefore, m is equal to, or g is equal to n of cos theta minus mu sin theta by m. So from this equation we can write n, or the force of normal reaction, is equal to mg by cos theta minus mu s sin theta. This is the equation for the normal force of reaction where the body is taking on the banking road curves. So we know that n sin theta plus f cos theta is equal to mv square by r. Again we can say f is equal to mu s n. So if we substitute this f value in this equation, it will be n sin theta plus mu s n cos theta is equal to mv square by r. The n value where n is equal to mg by cos theta minus mu s sin theta. If we substitute these values of n in the above equation, the equations will change like this. Mg by cos theta minus mu s sin theta of sin theta plus mu s into mg by cos theta minus mu s sin theta of cos theta is equal to mv square by r. We can take cos theta minus mu s sin theta as LCM. So this will be mg sin theta plus mu s mg cos theta. Mg of sin theta plus mu s cos theta by cos theta minus mu s sin theta is equal to mv square by r. So this whole equation is equal to the centripetal force. Therefore, we will take m and m get cancelled. So therefore, if we cross multiply, gr of sin theta plus mu s cos theta whole divided by cos theta minus mu s sin theta is equal to v square. This is the basic equation to find the velocity of the body when it is moving on the banking roads. So therefore v square is equal to gr into sin theta plus mu s cos theta by cos theta minus mu s sin theta. Therefore v is equal to, or v max is equal to, maximum velocity to be obtained by the body is equal to square root of gr sin theta plus mu s cos theta whole divided by cos theta minus mu s sin theta, where theta is the angle between the road to the object wheels, where mu s is the static frictional coefficient, where v max is the maximum velocity to be obtained. This is the problem which is based on the concept of motion of a body on a banking road. The description of the problem is: a circular racetrack of radius 300 meters is banked at an angle of 15 degrees. If the coefficient of friction between the wheels of a race car and the road is 0.2, what is the optimum speed of the race car to avoid wear and tear on its tires, and the maximum permissible speed to avoid slipping? We know the standard equation V max is equal to Rg into sin theta plus mu s cos theta by cos theta minus mu s sin theta. We should simplify this equation to do the solution for this problem. So let me divide the whole equation with cos theta. Whole equation with cos theta. Therefore V max is equal to Rg into sin theta plus mu s cos theta by cos theta whole divided by cos theta minus mu s sin theta by cos theta. The simplified part of this equation is V max is equal to Rg into, here we can write sin theta by cos theta tan theta plus mu s cos theta by cos theta is mu s. Therefore it is mu s plus tan theta whole divided by cos theta by cos theta 1 minus mu s tan theta. This is the simplest form of the equation to solve the typical cases of this problem. So Vmax is equal to Rg into mu s plus tan theta by 1 minus mu s tan theta whole power half. So this is the simplified equation to solve the problem. The first case is optimum speed of the race car to avoid the wear and tear on its tires, means the minimum velocity. What is the minimum velocity required for the smooth journey on the banking roads? So the values R is equal to some 300 meters, G is equal to some 10 meters per second square, angle theta is equal to 15 degrees. So now we are substituting all these three values in this equation. So therefore V is equal to, or V optimum is equal to R 300, G 10 into mu s. The frictional coefficient on the road is 0.2, therefore it is 0.2 plus tan theta, tan 15 degrees by 1 minus 0.2 tan theta, tan 15 degrees. If you did the calculation, it will be 38.1 meters per second. So this is the maximum speed required to keep the body or to avoid the slipping. But optimum speed means Rg tan theta whole power half, because optimum speed means we are simply neglecting the mu s in all the cases. So therefore it is R is 300, G is 10 into tan 15 degrees whole power half, approximately we will get 28.1 meters per second. So the first case, optimum speed is 28.1 meters per second. The second case, the minimum or maximum permissible speed to avoid slipping is 38.1 meters per second. The next concept is motion of a body on rough inclined plane. If the plane is rough, it has friction. So let us take an inclined plane like this. This is the support of the inclined plane, and a body is just ready to slide on the board, or we can say that the body is sliding. The forces acting on the body are, one is gravitational force in this direction. This is mg. So with respect to the point of contact, if this is the line which passes through the center of the body, and we can draw a line like this, theta is the angle. So now we are resoluting the force into two components. One is adjacent component, one is perpendicular component. Automatically the adjacent component is cos theta, that's why this will become mg cos theta. The perpendicular one, which is passing through the direction of the body, when it is passing on a rough inclined plane, it will be mg sin theta. So we can say the net resultant force, or in the force in the direction of the motion, is mg sin theta. But if the body is moving on rough inclined plane, along with the applied force, one more force is also acting. That force is nothing but the force of friction. This force of friction is offered by the roughness of the surface, which is always in opposite direction. We are writing Fk because it is a kinetic friction, because body is sliding or moving. So net resultant force Fr is equal to f minus fk. So we know that fk is nothing but mu kn, where n is equal to mg cos theta. Therefore it is mu k mg cos theta, because the normal force exactly upward with the same equal magnitude but in the opposite direction. So therefore Fr is equal to, what is F? Mg sin theta minus Fk mu k mg cos theta. Therefore, if we take m as common, it is g sin theta minus mu kg cos theta. This is Fr. But the acceleration of the body A is equal to Fr by m. So the Fr is, therefore the acceleration is equal to, where Fr is m into g sin theta minus mu k g cos theta by m. M get cancelled. So acceleration will become g sin theta minus mu k g cos theta. Or we can write g of sin theta minus mu k cos theta. So this is the acceleration of the body, where it is sliding on a rough inclined plane by making an angle theta with respect to the support, where the object also makes an angle. Now we will find out the velocity acquired by the body while it is moving on a rough inclined plane. While it is moving on rough inclined plane. As we discussed earlier in the previous question, so this is the rough inclined plane which has friction, and the body is just ready to slide, and it was slided some distance. So we know the force components. This is mg, and this is mg cos theta, which is identical to the normal of the body, and this is mg sin theta. So this is the components of the force. But what is the way to find out the velocity acquired by this body while it is moving on the rough inclined plane? Just we should use the simple kinematic equations of motion. So what are the simple kinematic equations of motion? Whether the freely falling body, we can compare this situation with freely falling body. For a freely falling body, u is 0 and it has traveled some distance with some acceleration. So the equation what we should use is v square minus u square is equal to 2as. U is equal to 0 for freely falling body. So v square minus 0 is equal to 2 into, where acceleration is equal to g into sin theta minus mu k cos theta. In the previous question we have discussed that. So it is g into sin theta minus mu k cos theta, and the distance traveled by the body on the rough inclined plane is equal to length of this plane. So S is equal to L. So it will be 2gl into sin theta minus mu k cos theta is equal to v square. Therefore v is equal to square root of 2gl into sin theta minus mu k cos theta. While we are discussing the kinematic equations of motion without friction, the equation we got is V is equal to under root 2gh. Along with that, sin theta minus mu k cos theta is also multiplied for the equation, to the equation. So why it is multiplied? Just it is an angle of the sliding and the resolution of the force components and as well as frictional coefficient. So if you included these three or these physical quantities, the formula will change like this. If it didn't included for a freely falling body or a fourth round body, it will be simple root 2gs or 2gh or 2gl. The next concept is time taken for arrival. The same body which is moving on rough inclined plane, what is the time taken to arrive at the bottom? So in this case, again we should use S is equal to ut plus half at square. We know that for freely falling body u is equal to 0 and the S is the distance travelled by the body which is moving on inclined plane, that's why S is equal to L. This is 0 plus half, where A is equal to G into sin theta minus mu k cos theta into t square. The conditions are S is equal to L, U is equal to 0. So in this case, L is equal to half G sin theta minus mu k cos theta t square. T square is equal to L by this thing. So therefore, T square is equal to 2L by G into sin theta minus mu k cos theta. Therefore, T is equal to square root of 2L by G of sin theta minus mu k cos theta. So this is the time taken for a body to reach the bottom while it is moving on a rough inclined plane. So previously in the example we will get some 2h by g. Here we are including the angle of incidence or angle of motion and frictional coefficient also. The next concept is angle of repose. What is the meaning of this angle of repose? Let me check some inclined planes with variation angles. This is one inclined plane. This is another inclined plane, as well as this is the third inclined plane. If you see these three diagrams, automatically you can see the variation in the angle. On this body, sliding of the object is not at all possible. Here sliding is possible and here sliding is maximum. So what is the relation between these three diagrams to the angle of repose? Angle of repose is a minimum angle where the body is just ready to slide. That means, suppose if I place the object here, sliding of the body is not possible because the inclined plane is making a less angle with the horizontal. Here the inclined plane is making a greater angle with respect to the horizontal. Here the inclined plane is making a largest angle with respect to the horizontal. So angle of repose is the minimum angle subtended by the inclined plane with respect to the horizontal, where the body's sliding is just ready to start, or where the body's sliding is just about to start. That means if you increase the slope at one particular angle, the body will just ready to slide. Up to that, beyond that angle or just before that angle, sliding is not possible. So because that minimum angle is called angle of repose. Suppose if you take a body, how this body will subtend the angle of repose on the plane, we will see now. So what is the definition of this concept? The angle of inclination of a plane with respect to horizontal where the body will be in limiting equilibrium. Is called angle of repose. It is also defined as the minimum angle subtended by the plane with respect to the horizontal where the body just ready to slide. This is also called angle of repose. Let us suppose this is the plane and the body is sliding. For one particular angle, the body's sliding will start. Let us say the angle is alpha. If this is the alpha, this body has force components like this. This is mg. This is mg cos alpha. This is mg sin alpha. So we can say that this mg sin alpha is the applied force by the body on the inclined plane. Mg cos alpha is the force component. Along with that, we can see the frictional coefficient also, or kinetic friction. So the limiting friction Fl is equal to mg sin alpha, as well as normal force is equal to mg cos alpha. So Fl by n is equal to mg sin alpha by mg cos alpha. So mg get cancelled. So Fl by n is equal to tan alpha, where Fl by n is equal to mu s or mu l is equal to tan alpha, where alpha is equal to tan inverse mu s or tan inverse mu l. This is the value of angle of repose. Means for one particular angle, let us say some theta is equal to alpha, sliding is possible. That is said to be angle of repose. Up to that angle, the body will be in limiting equilibrium. Now we are discussing a problem which is based on the concept of acceleration of a sliding body on horizontal plane. The concept or the description of the problem is a body of mass 100 grams is sliding down on inclined plane of inclination 30 degrees. What is the acceleration of the body if the coefficient of friction between the body and the inclined plane is 0.5, where g is equal to 9.8 meters per second square. Mass of body is 100 grams. Actually, it is independent to find the acceleration of the inclined plane. So 100 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kg. Angle of inclination theta is equal to 30 degrees. We should find out acceleration where coefficient of friction is 0.5 and g is 9.8 meters per second square, and we should find out acceleration. These are the values. So if you keep on substituting, A is equal to g into sin theta minus mu k cos theta. G is 9.8, into sine theta is equal to 30 degrees minus mu k is 0.5 into cos 30 degrees. So it is A is equal to 9.8 into sine 30. So the sine 30 is 1 by 2 minus 0.5 into cos 30 is root 3 by 2. So 9.8 into, if I take 1 by 2 as common, 1 minus 0.5 root 3. So it is 4.9 into 1 minus 0.5 into 1.732. So if you keep the substitution, you will get 0.6566 meters per second square. This is the acceleration of the body with sliding angle this and g is equal to 9.8 on a frictional coefficient surface of 0.5. Now we will see another problem based on the concept of angle of sliding and the minimum acceleration of the force. A block of mass of 2 kg slides on an inclined plane that makes an angle of 30 degrees with the horizontal. The coefficient of friction between the block and the surface is root 3 by 2. The first bit in the question is, what force should be applied to the block so that it moves down without any acceleration? So mass of the body is 2 kg. It is in the SI system, no need to change. Angle of inclination is 30 degrees, where the coefficient of friction mu is root 3 by 2. So root of 3, root 3 by 2. So we should find out what is the force required to be applied on the body so the block moves without any acceleration. So if you visualize the free body diagram for this problem, the free body diagram will be like this. No need of this. This is the body. It is sliding. This plane, which is an inclined plane, is making an angle 30 degrees. So this is the force in this direction. If you resolute the force components, this is mg. This will be mg sine theta. So automatically the opposite direction will be mu mg cos theta. Because the applied force should be balanced by the normal force. So F plus mg sine theta is equal to mu mg cos theta. So therefore F plus, where mass of the body 2 kg, where g 9.8, where theta 30 is equal to, where mu is equal to root 3 by 2, where m 2 kg, g 9.8 into cos 30. So F plus 19.6 into, where sine 30 degrees is 1 by 2, is equal to root 3 by 2 into 19.6 into cos 30 is root 3 by 2. So 19.6 into half, it will be 9.8. So therefore F is equal to root 3 into root 3, 3 by 4, 3 by 4 into 19.6 minus 9.8. So this 19.6 will be 4.9. So it is 3 into 4.9, 14.7 minus 9.8. So we will get 4.9 newtons. So 4.9 newtons of force is required to move the body so that it makes down without any acceleration. That is the answer. In the same question, there is another bit. So the content is same, the physical quantities are same. The bit we should find out is what force should be applied to the block so that it moves up without any acceleration. That means the body is moving up. In the previous case, the body is sliding down. So with respect to that, we have derived F plus mg cos theta is equal to mu mg sin theta. So like that. But if the body is moving up, this is the case, both the direction, let us suppose, then the net force should be equal to mg sin theta plus mu mg cos theta. Plus mu mg cos theta. So therefore F is equal to, we can take mg as common. So sin theta plus mu cos theta. Where m is 2 kg, where g is 9.8 into sin theta, sin 30 degrees plus mu root 3 by 2 into cos 30. So it is 19.6 into, so sin 30 is 1 by 2 plus root 3 by 2 into cos 30 1 by 2. So cos 30 is also root 3 by 2. So F is equal to, where 2 into 9.8 is 19.6 into 1 by 2 plus root 3 by 2 into root 3 by 2, where cos 30 is also root 3 by 2. So it will be 3 by 4. So it will be 19.6 into 4 is the LCM, 2 plus 3. So 19.6 into 5 by 4, where 4 will cancel in 4.9 times. Therefore force will be 4.9 into 5, 24.5 newtons. So if the body is sliding down, the force should be equal to some 4.9 newtons. If the body is moving up, the force should be 24.5 newtons. So the next problem is, a block is placed on a ramp of parabolic shape given by the equation y is equal to x square by 20. This is the figure. This is the parabolic shape. A rock is placed. If static friction coefficient mu s is equal to 0.5, what is the maximum height above the ground at which the block can be placed without slipping? It's just placed on the parabolic path. So we should find out what is the maximum height above the ground where this block can be placed without slipping. So we know that mu s is equal to tan theta is equal to dy by dx. So this mu s is 0.5, nothing but dy by dx is 0.5, but y is equal to x square by 20. So we should differentiate this y with respect to f. Differentiating the above equation, nothing but this one, we are keeping a symbol, with respect to x. So therefore dy by dx is equal to d by dx of x square by 20. So this will be 1 by 20 into 2x, because differentiation of x power n is equal to n into x power n minus 1. So x square is equal to 2x. This 2 and 10 times, it is x by 10 is equal to dy by dx. But we know that dy by dx is equal to 0.5. So we should equate 0.5 is equal to x by 10. Therefore, x is equal to 10 into 0.5, 5. So the maximum height y max is equal to x square by 20. Therefore, 5 square by 20, 25 by 20. It will be 5 by 4, 1.25 meters. So the stone should be placed at a height of 1.25 meters above the ground. So it should not be slipping.